Irish guy, and it is that time of year again. Let's take a look at the weirdest transfer every day of June. And lads, there's been some freaky ones this month, and they're only going to get weirder in July. Right, let's go. First, Olivier Giroud to LAFC. Look, on paper, I moved to the MLS. Doesn't seem that bizarre for a 37-year-old Olivier Giroud, but come on. Let's be real here. This guy is no ordinary 37-year-old man. This isn't someone who's only a few years off being fed muesli by a nurse. No, this is somebody off the back of a 17-goal season for AC Milan. Of course, this guy was still a pivotal player for Milan. It's not so long ago he was chucking on the gloves and standing in net. What is strange to me is he's not moving LA to join the Galaxy, a club who've made a habit of alluring world stars like David Beckham and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, he's instead joining their city rivals, a club who were founded a little over 9 years ago, a club who are part owned by Will Ferrell. Yeah. You're joining Anchorman's club. To me, the fact that this small little side now have France's record goal scorer and France's most ever capped footballer of all time in Hugo Lloris, two men with combined 281 international caps for France. Now they're together eating donuts in the LAFC canteen. To me, it looks weird. Second, Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. Well, okay, this one isn't weird on paper. Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid has been on the cards for years. What I can't wrap my head around is the fact that Mbappe has actually gone to Spain for free. Something he swore he would not do back in 2021. Shorty, PSG have managed to concoct the most stupid financial decision of all time. Remember when they fumbled the bag by turning down Real Madrid's offer of £121 million? Yeah, was it really worth forcing Mbappe to stay another 3 years in Paris when you haven't even won the Champions League? I mean, they could have thrown a fat bloke in a teddy bear costume up front instead, and they'd still have won the last 3 league titles with ease. Honestly, PSG, what have you done? Third, Alex Paulson to Bournemouth. Yeah, this was sort of strange. Bournemouth wrapping up a £2 million deal for Alex Paulson, a young New Zealand international goalie from Wellington Phoenix. Now, he might well be a decent player, but I don't know. Has anyone seen him? It's not the weirdest, but it's definitely a little wacky. Fourth, Eric Dyer to Bayern Munich. Okay, I know Eric Dyer was already on loan at Bayern Munich last season, obviously, and he did well, but still, to type a £3 million permanent switch from Tottenham to Bayern Munich, it still looks wacky. A year ago, you'd have probably thought the best he could hope for was a move to Fulham, and yet now he's at one of the biggest clubs in European football. I mean, go back a year ago and say that Dyer's next manager would be Vincent Kompany. You'd be sure that Dyer will be signing for Burnley. So to see him now in a Bayern Munich shirt, it still looks about as natural as seeing my grandfather wearing a Cinderella dress. Fifth, Tosin Adebayo to Chelsea. Lads, you know what this transfer makes me think? How much I want Fulham and Chelsea to develop a proper heated rivalry, because then players like Tosin Adebayo would not be able to get away with this, and he would be at Newcastle United instead. Lads, this man has just pulled off the same horrid, treacherous shock transfer that Sol Campbell did in 2001 when he ditched Tottenham for Arsenal on a free. Yeah, it's over 20 years later, and that man is probably still too scared of frequenting restaurants in London for fear that there's a Spurs fan working in the kitchen who will happily slip some mice teeth into his sticky toffee pudding. Lads, Craven Cottage and Stamford Bridge are separated with just 2 miles. They're closer to each other than Arsenal and Spurs. I know the Fulham and Chelsea fans are probably too posh to be scrapping it out under a bridge, and in reality, their firms would probably just organise to have a heated debate whilst eating croissants at their local patisserie. But still, I can't be the only one who thinks that Tosin choosing to get a £100,000 a week deal at Stamford Bridge and getting away with it without any heat of the fans, it's strange. To me, it's been like somebody choosing to nick his brother's wife, and yet nobody in the family's bothered. Nah, they're still happily putting crackers together at the next family meal. It's just, no. Fulham fans, are you not angry? Sixth, nothing. Yeah, the 6th of June was the only day of the month where nothing weird actually happened. So, next. 7th, Cohen Casteels to Alcaja. Yeah, here we have Cohen Casteels, the Belgian goalkeeper at the Euros. He's 32 years of age and a Wolfsburg stalwart. He's been at the club for a decade. The man's been there so long, he still remembers having Kevin De Bruyne as a teammate at club level. So to see him completely quit European football altogether at just 32, joining Alcaja FC, a team who've only just been promoted to the Saudi Pro League, it's strange, especially considering that team already have a big name European goalkeeper, Joel Robles. You know, formerly of Atletico Madrid, Everton, Real Betis and Leeds. So are we just going to accept now that this former Spain underage international goalkeeper is now playing second fiddle for a rubbish Saudi team? Ouch! 8th, Adam Lallana to Southampton. I don't get this. This stinks of when Everton brought back Wayne Rooney in 2017 and everyone just had to awkwardly make nice. Everyone had to pretend that the relationship hadn't been completely soured over the last 15 years. From Rooney kissing the Manchester United badge Goodison Park to the fans screaming at him until their lungs turned blue. Well, similarly, Adam Lallana also absolutely destroyed his Saints legacy by forcing a move away from his boyhood club to go to Liverpool 10 years ago, and things got ugly. Honestly, over the last decade, most Southampton fans would probably sooner have kissed a sloth than shake this man's hand. And now at the age of 36, he's back. He was probably too nervous to be unveiled in public for fear of somebody chucking a milkshake in his face. 9th, Luis Alberto to Aldo Heil. Remember Luis Alberto? Remember when he joined Liverpool in 2013? Alongside Diego Aspas, two talented Spaniards tailor-made for La Liga football. But come on, neither one of them could lift more than 4 bananas at once. They had the body type of Oliver Twist's mates, so throwing them onto a rough Premier League pitch was a bit like throwing a puppy into an antelope stampede. Anyway, Alberto actually carved out 8 brilliant years in midfield for Lazio, but now at just 31, the Spain international has joined Aldo Heil in Qatar, with the coach Christophe Galtier snapping him up to replace Philippe Coutinho. Really? I mean, this is someone who not so long ago was coaching Mbappe and Messi, and now he's just collecting ex-Liverpool midfielders who look more fragile than a ceramic figurine of Mickey Mouse. 10th, Omari Forson to Monza. Yeah, every summer Manchester United seem to throw out an anticlimactic curveball to upset the fans, just freaking out the fan base online by choosing to ruthlessly sell a teenage midfielder who everyone had been gassing up on Twitter. The fans were outraged when James Garner was abruptly sold to Everton, and then Zidane Iqbal to Utrecht last summer, and now it's Omari Forson's turn, permanently sold to Monza in Serie A. Well, for free. Lads, a year ago, both he and Kobbie Mainoo were raved about in the same breath. Both teenage midfield superstars about to be unleashed on the Prem. Yeah, it's a year on and Mainoo is playing in midfield for England at the Euros, while Forson is being banished to eat pizza overseas. Look, this isn't even like in 2012, when a 19-year-old Paul Pogba quit Man United for Italy on a free. No, because there was plenty of fuss when that happened. I remember one Man United fan saying that Pogba was going to win the Ballon d'Or, but this time, nobody actually really cares. 11, Stol Dimitrievski to Valencia. Yeah, Valencia are clearly trying to make it a thing of scrambling the brains of their own goalkeeping coach. Imagine how sick he must feel after finally mastering how to pronounce the name of their Georgian goalie Giorgio Mamadishvili. Now he's also being thrown 30-year-old North Macedonia international goalkeeper Stol Dimitrievski, signed from Rayo Vallecano on a free. Imagine that poor goalie coach trying to pronounce both of their names every morning. By the end of the first week, he'd probably be contemplating whether or not to drown himself in a bowl of Frosties. 12th, Hiroki Ito to Bayern Munich. So here we have Bayern Munich choosing to sign 25-year-old Japan international centre-half Hiroki Ito from Stuttgart for 30 million euros. A good signing, sure, but considering the club also splashed out on South Korean centre-back Kim Min-jae last summer, should Bayern not consider maybe investing some actual scouts in Asia instead of splashing out huge chunks of money to sign these guys only when they were hot property at Stuttgart and Napoli? Honestly, Bayern, get a scouting network in Asia. It will save you some pennies in the piggy bank. 13th, Alex Garcia to Bayer Leverkusen. This transfer feels a little sad. Alex Garcia is a 27-year-old Spain international midfielder, someone who, like Douglas Luiz, was also ignored in the Man City camp. Honestly, both he and Luiz are probably still WhatsApp buddies who were celebrating their huge transfers together this summer after Pep Guardiola treated both of them as if they were pigs with leprosy. But to me, last summer, Girona and Bayer Leverkusen were the two fairy tale stories in Europe, both clubs embarking on the single greatest season in their club's history. So to see one player jump before seeing out the rest of the Champions League mission, leaving one romantic fairy tale for another, back when both clubs, I don't know, seeing Garcia cynically dump one Disney dream for another one, it's a bit like Snow White choosing the next Cinderella's fella. Come on, Garcia, just stay with Girona. 14th, Jadira Ejuke to Sevilla. Yeah, here we have Sevilla snapping up 26-year-old winger Chidera Ejuka from CSKA after impressing on loan at Royal Antwerp last season. A decent-ish signing, I guess. But what I find strange is that he is the first Nigerian footballer in Sevilla's 134-year history. Sorry, what? 15th, Luis Guilherme to West Ham. West Ham have signed a wonderkid on the world stage. Okay, this isn't quite like when they stole Javier Mascherano and Carlos Tevez from under the nose of Europeans elite in 2006, but still, Luis Guilherme is a Brazil under-20 international midfielder who is a rock star in Brazil with Palmeiras, and he was linked with loads of huge clubs. So for West Ham to convince him to sign a 5-year deal in a £25 million deal, wow, how have you done that? 16th, Joselu to Al Jarafa. So that's it, Joselu. Somebody who works his entire life to realize his Real Madrid dream, being brought back to the club on loan at 33 years of age last summer, despite absolutely stinking up English football at Newcastle and Stoke in the past. Here he was now winning the Champions League for his boyhood club, a club where he actually had the briefest of first spells. I mean, his time at Real Madrid was like Big Sam as England manager, a 100% record, with Joselu scoring in his only match for Jose Mourinho back in May 2011 in an 8-1 win over Almeria. I mean, that was surely going to be his Real Madrid legacy. 9 minutes on the pitch. So seeing him rejoining the Galacticos last summer, it was about as likely as Allardyce getting another crack at the England job. Yeah, we're probably sooner going to see this man eating Rihanna's ears on the Graham Norton couch. But for Joselu to earn himself a permanent switch to the biggest club in the world this summer, only to immediately leave them, choosing to chase the bag in Qatar with Al Jarafa. It's been like when Ben Affleck spent 20 years trying to find his way back to J-Lo, only to then dump her for the chance to marry some bulldog who spends all day licking mud off his nose. I mean, to be fair, the man is about to earn £124,000 a week. Joselu, 134k a week at 34. Wow. 17th, Nacho Alcaja. When you think of Real Madrid centre half Nacho, you assume that the guy hasn't played much for the club, right? That he was always waiting in the shadows as some cheerleader, waiting on the bench with a handful of toffee popcorn in his mouth. Yeah, what if I told you this man has actually made nearly 400 appearances for the biggest club in the world? That he's actually had 4 different seasons where he's played 40 plus times, including the last 3 in a row. This is somebody who just lifted the Champions League as captain of Real Madrid, and yet he's now squirmed his way to Alcaja. Again, that newly promoted Saudi club. He is the joint most decorated footballer in Real Madrid's history, having won 26 trophies. His career has been a one-club dream. So to spoil this Maldini-esque legacy by grabbing some hollow £160,000 a week contract to play alongside footballers who have the technique and ability of constipated dogs? Come on, Nacho, you're better than this. He's joining a team who had max power in their midfield last season. Wasn't he off those Simpsons? 18th, Radamel Falcao to Millonarios. Radamel Falcao is on the move again. Look, on paper, it's not actually weird for a Colombian legend like him to be joining his boyhood club Millonarios FC back in his homeland, but what I do find bizarre is that he is still fit and healthy enough to be signing new deals when he's 38. This is somebody who everybody presumed would be retiring early from the sport. Remember when he suffered that devastating ACL injury at Monaco, and he was then an absolute frog spawn mess in the Premier League with both Man United and Chelsea? Yeah. That was 10 years ago. He looked like his body was close to shutting down, that he was down so feeble and weak that he probably wouldn't be able to walk upstairs without shattering his pelvis in 2. So the fact that he's returning to Colombian football after nearly 25 years away to still be in professional football shape, well done. I can only assume that ever since leaving Chelsea, that he's refused to touch a single hamburger. 19th, Valdemar Anton to Borussia Dortmund. This is arguably the most depressing move in the list. After reaching the promised land of Champions League football last season, everybody is now quitting Stuttgart without a fuss. There is a fire sale, and the saddest departure is their captain, Valdemar Anton. At 27 years old, he's finally hit the big time, making his Germany debut this year, and now he's agreed to leave. But not to predictable old Bayern Munich. Oh no. He's joining Borussia Dortmund, a team who aren't even in the Champions League next season. No. 20th, Lewis Dobbin to Aston Villa. This transfer looks so weird in my eyes. Here we have Lewis Dobbin, some Everton wonderkid winger who's been hailed as a prospect for years. He's been a Goodison Park for 10 years now. He had a breakout season last season where he was given starts. He even scored his first goal against Chelsea. And now, after an entire decade of being moulded and sculpted at Everton, they've just sold him to Aston Villa for £10 million. That was very abrupt and strange. 21st, Andrea Bellotti to Como. Lads, Como are the Italian Wrexham, a lower league club who attracted some celebrity owners and brought with them a boatload of fuss. I mean, they got the likes of Thierry Henry and Fabregas on board. And because of that, they're trying to sign blockbuster names, which confuses me. Lads, I thought Dennis Wise had been chased out of football boardrooms when he chose to reject Kevin Keegan's recommendation of Luka Modric at Newcastle to instead chase the signature of players he found on YouTube. Bear in mind, this was back in an era where people only uploaded videos of cats to YouTube. But now this month, he's actively trying to convince a world champion like Rafael Varane to join. He's already got his hands on Andrea Bellotti, who I know was a washed up sock puppet at Roma last year, but show respect, he's only 30 years of age and he has 112 Serie A goals, chilling in the 100 goal club with the likes of Dzeko, Cavani, Trezeguet, for Como to get him on a free. And it's like when Wrexham signed Stephen Fletcher in League 2. 22nd, Ross Barkley to Aston Villa. You're Champions League material now. Signing Ross Barkley. I thought everybody had accepted back in 2021 that he wasn't good enough for Villa. Back when Villa were a far worse team, they finished 11th in the league and still did not want to sign him permanently after his loan spell from Chelsea. Yeah, he's now in his 30s, you're in the Champions League, and suddenly it's now a perfect match? What? How can Unai Emery possibly want something that Dean Smith didn't? 23rd, Omari Kellyman to Chelsea. £19 million. For an 18-year-old midfielder who's got 27 minutes of football under his belt? Let me get this straight. Villa bought this kid from Derby County for just £600,000 2 years ago, and they're now cashing in on him for 31 times that amount. Ow. How has he inflated his price tag by 31 times? Based on what? 6 touches of Premier League football? This is just weird. 24th, Philip Coutinho to Vasco da Gama. Philip Coutinho is still plodding along, getting seriously depressing moves. This is somebody who, don't forget, was tying up a £120 million move to Barcelona. Back when £100 million moves were insane. The fact he's now just 32 and has had his Aston Villa contract ripped up, and he's now back at square one, rejoining his boyhood team Vasco da Gama in Brazil, where he's probably only going to get paid in cookies and hugs. Poor Pip. He's playing in the same midfield as Dimitri Payet. I would love to see Vasco's midfield heat map after every match. There's going to be at least 2 blotches across the road at Pizza Hut. 25th, Wes Foderingham to West Ham. Ow. Just ow. Wes Foderingham is the 33-year-old ex-Rangers goalkeeper who just played in goal for officially the worst ever Premier League defence. An absolute embarrassment of the Sheffield United net. The poor bloke probably now hates football. What part of him getting repeated back pain by having to pick 100 balls out of his own net in a single season was fun? And what about that enticed West Ham to buy him? The only player I can compare Foderingham to is Roy Carroll, another bloke with a 3-letter first name, who was part of the worst ever Premier League team in Derby County. Yeah, when he was flushed out the door, he was untouchable in English football after that nightmare season. And so at the scrambled jobs in Denmark, Crete, and Greece, yeah, Foderingham instead gets West Ham. That's unfair. Although considering Carroll's 2 clubs before Derby were Rangers and West Ham, then Foderingham is living out this man's career in reverse. Give it 2 years and Wes is going to be getting unveiled at Old Trafford too. I mean, they once signed Lee Grant. 26th, Serhou Guirassy to Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, this one was all agreed on the 26th. Serhou Guirassy would quit Stuttgart after an insane 30-goal season, but he is choosing to forfeit Champions League football for a payday at Borussia Dortmund. Does nobody at Stuttgart realize that Dortmund didn't actually win that Champions League final? Do they think they're in that tournament next season? Nah, I don't get it. Just stay at Stuttgart. This would be like Chelsea managing to sign Ollie Watkins this summer. Just... what? 27th, Ben Godfrey to Atalanta. Ben Godfrey should kiss his agent on the mouth. How has he managed to blag this one? Ben Godfrey was, let's be real, an injury-riddled pile of frustration after his big money move from Norwich 4 years ago. Sean Dyche never really fancied him. Price him up by the middle of January last season. The man has spent 19 of the first 21 Premier League games rotting on the bench for the full 90 minutes. If you had told this Everton reject that he would soon be sewing up an £11 million deal to the Europa League champions, an Atalanta team who are in the Champions League next season, he would think you are insane. What a transfer this is for the bloke. Incredible. 28th, Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest. Elliot Anderson must feel crushed. This is somebody who is realizing his boyhood dream, slowly but surely breaking into the Newcastle United first team, coinciding with the most exciting takeover in the history of the club. He probably had to pinch himself dancing in the training every day. And yet now, he's gone. Sold at 21 years of age before he's even been able to score his first Newcastle United goal. Oh, that is going to be a horrible itch. Never having scored a single goal in black and white. That's what's going to keep him awake when he's 67 and trying to sleep. Even Matty Longstaff has had those moments to bank on for the rest of his life. But Anderson... no. What's so strange is that this transfer is actually a combination of 2 other Geordies, because it's a monster £35 million transfer fee, the same lump sum that Geordie boy Andy Carroll was sold to Liverpool for back in 2011, but the destination, oh, this is Jack Colback splashed all over it after he was chucked out to Nottingham Forest on a free. This is Carroll and Colback squished into some weird Geordie pie, and Anderson is the end result. He must be absolutely gutted. 29th, Odysseus Vlakidomis to Newcastle United. Lads, last week I did a video looking at the last hipster move every Premier League club made, and I proudly said that nobody would ever remember that Odysseus Vlakidomis was ever in the Premier League, that he would have the same Prem legacy as Kostas Chalkias. Anyone? Portsmouth 2005. Forget it. But now, just a week later, and this random bloke has just traded the Forest bench for Newcastle's. Weird. I said nobody would remember him. I think I'm gonna have to now. 30th, John Ruddy to Newcastle United. I'm so confused. Has any Premier League club ever signed 2 different goalkeepers within the same 24 hours? In comes John Ruddy. Yeah, John Ruddy was cool back in 2012 when he was playing for England and was on the cusp of a mega money switch to Chelsea. Yeah, he's now 37 and was just relegated to League One with Birmingham. He's just been brought in to do at Newcastle what Ben Foster was asked to do 2 years ago, but said no. Ruddy will probably be delighted to get the switch. But who saw this coming? Who? Anyway, that's Stephen. Let me know what do you think in the comment section below. What do you think was the weirdest move that your club made? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.